Welcome to the Degenerate Dillon podcast, where Dillon has you covered with everything from spreads to futures to prop bets. Follow him every weekday as we pick daily best bets using stats, analytics, and a little bit of luck. Now here's your host, Degenerate Dillon himself, Dillon Nelson.
Hey everybody, welcome into another episode of the Degenerate Dillon podcast, Degenerate Dillon show, however you are watching or listening. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We got a great episode today going over some of the upset picks in my bracket. To start with one of the upset picks, oh man, just really to touch base. Isn't it just great to have March again? I know I'm beating a dead horse here. I don't care. Love it. Live it. It's awesome. Didn't have a March Madness last year. Are you blaming me? You shouldn't. I might be a little bit of a crazy person watching some videos. Some guy's been making, NCAA 2010, EA Sports video game. He's been doing all the tournament matchups on that thing. I don't care. Call me a crazy person. It's okay. I'm all right with that. It's been a while. Been a long time. We're going to start with our first upset pick. I've got Winthrop over Villanova. The line here is 6.5 in Villanova's favor. Winthrop is all right against the spread at 13-11. Villanova 11-10-1. A lot of those games that they were covering the spread, they had a healthy lineup. They do not have that right now. Justin Moore possibly out. Everybody knows that. Colin Gillespie out with the torn ACL. Everybody knows that. This team is depleted right now. They've still got great basketball players on this team. They're still Villanova. They still won the national championship a few years ago. They're still a good team. They've still got one of the best coaches in college basketball, Jay Wright. I just like Winthrop here. I don't know. It's, when you get down to March, it's these statistics and analytics, they don't necessarily matter as much. These guys are playing straight from the heart, and it's really just a gut pick. I mean, yeah, when you get some of these matchups, Illinois over whatever 16 seed they're playing, and Houston over Cleveland State, I guess. I mean, you could play the numbers there. You could play the fact that these teams have only lost, a handful of times, and they've won 20-something times. I mean, yeah, obviously you can still play numbers. And a lot of people do play numbers when they fill out their bracket. I only really look at the numbers when I bet these games. I don't look at the numbers when I'm picking them in my bracket. So I'm picking Winthrop to upset Villanova just based off a gut feeling. And the fact that Villanova is dealing with some injuries right now. I'm going to play the Winthrop 6.5 here just because I don't think Villanova is going to necessarily beat this team by a lot of points. If they do win, and in which they very well could, and it's probably more likely than not that they do win, they're not going to win by a large margin. This game's going to be closer than a 10-point game. So I like the play. I think the smart play here is the Winthrop plus the 6.5. Moving on to the second upset I have Syracuse over San Diego State. I know San Diego State is a great team, and they could very well make a push to the Sweet 16. I could see it happening. In my bracket, they don't. In my bracket, they lose in their first game against Syracuse and Jim and Buddy Boeheim. When it comes down to this game and these games in March, and I'm speaking from a bracket perspective, not a gambling perspective, I pick Syracuse because Syracuse has the best shooter in this game. Buddy Boeheim is the best shooter in this game and one of the best shooters in the tournaments. And we see year after year these teams, these mid-majors, not that Syracuse is mid-major because they're not. They're in the ACC. But these 11, 12, 13, 14 seeds that win these games, that make these upsets, they have teams that shoot the lights out. Buddy Boeheim's just coming off a 31-point performance in the ACC tournament where he shot the lights out. I mean, he's trending in the right direction right now. This team is trending in the right direction right now. I'm a little bit surprised they made it into March Madness. I know they were one of the bubble teams, but they made it in nonetheless. And they have the best shooter in this game. I'm going with the shooter in my bracket. I'm going to go shooter with my money, too. The line's 3 in favor of San Diego State. I'm going to take Syracuse to cover that 3. I think this is going to be a last second shot kind of game. Really like Buddy Boeheim if he gets the last second shot, if he gets a last second three and they're only down by 2. Oh man, I like your chances. Let's just say that if you're losing by 2 and you've got the ball on the other half court and you have 4 or 5 seconds left, I really like having a player like Buddy Boeheim on your team and your chances. So I'm going to take Syracuse in my bracket and take Syracuse plus the 3. Moving on to y'all are going to call me crazy. I know I just talked about Houston and Cleveland State, but that is my biggest upset on my bracket. I have Cleveland State beating Houston. I'm completely throwing all of the statistics and analytics out the window. This is a complete gut feeling. Houston's favored by 20.5. They're a 2 seed. Cleveland State's a 15 seed. It doesn't happen very often. It happens, but not very often. I think the smart play money-wise is obviously to take Cleveland State plus 20.5. I just think that's the play. I don't think Houston. I mean, Houston did just blow out Cincinnati, blew the doors off of them. But that was a little bit of a revenge play from last year. I don't know if you know, but last year Houston lost in their conference tournament final against Cincinnati. There was a little bit of a chip on a shoulder, momentum play for Houston to try a little bit extra harder. They could overlook Cleveland State here, and I have them overlooking Cleveland State. That's just, like I said, it's a gut feeling. Doesn't matter. But the money play here is the 20.5, the plus 20.5 in Cleveland State's favor. ESPN's at the likelihood at 63.5% chance that they cover. I think that's right. I really like that, and that's where I'm going to put my money. I think that's where you should put your money to. Moving on, we will touch base on a little NBA action tonight, and not really a shameless plug because this is my podcast, but I am now a contributor to TallySite.com, TallySite Sports. I'm going to make my nightly picks on that website. You can find them. It's all free. Just follow me and you'll get my picks. Some people charge money. I do this for fun. This is not for a profit to me. I don't have any sponsors. I don't have any ads, nothing. This is all just because I want to talk sports. And me and my wife live out in kind of a small little town away from our friends in the city. I don't get to see my friends a lot. So every day I'm filled with all of this knowledge in my head that I feel like I need to get out, and I can't really, I can't tell my wife likes sports, but she's not, crazy about it. So I've got to find a way to get it off my chest a little bit. And this is my way to do it. It's completely free. I just like doing it. So follow me on TallySite. I'll give you my nightly picks. Last night I was 3 for 2. Tonight I really like Boston to cover the 9-point spread and the over of 217.5. The Celtics and their opponents have scored more than 107 a game in the last 5 matchups. The Celtics have also won 5 of their last 7. They lost last night to the Jazz. I don't think they're going to lose 2 nights in a row. In fact, I think they're going to blow out the Cavs by 10 plus, play Boston and the 9, and play the over of 217.5. Another game I like in my lock of the night. It allows me to give a lock every night. My lock of the night is Brooklyn to cover the 3.5. Brooklyn is 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games and have won their last 5 games overall. If Harden and Kyrie are in the lineup, which they should be, but you know how we've talked about this all the time. Check the injury report. Check the injury report. Check the injury report at 5 o'clock. Do not bet until then. Unless you like the line, obviously, then you could play it, in the morning or the night before. But play the Nets at 3.5 here if Kyrie and Harden play, and play it all the way up to 5 if the line moves. That's my lock of the night. I also like Milwaukee against Philly right now. Philly's just not the same team without Embiid. They had a narrow, close win last night against the Knicks. We had the Knicks covering 7 in our picks last night, which they did. But they narrowly beat the Knicks last night. I really like Milwaukee to cover the 5.5 here. If I had a choice of a second lock of the night, I would make that a lock also. I really like Milwaukee at the 5.5. I think you can take them all the way up to 7.5. I would even play up there too. But that is it for me today. Tomorrow we will look at some possible second round upsets I have. So look forward to that show. I really appreciate y'all listening, watching, however you're partaking in the Degenerate show. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. But that'll be it for me today. I really appreciate y'all tuning in, man. We will catch up with you mañana on March Madness Day. It is officially starting tomorrow. We're so excited. I'm excited. I know you are too. But yeah, we'll catch up with y'all tomorrow. Peace.